There is always so much stuff to burn here on the farm. Because we don't have a chipper, we have to burn it at the moment. It'll be great to have a chipper in the future, but right now we've got a tiny house build to fund, as well as many other tools that we need, so really a chipper is very low down on the list. Now normally when we have fires in this spot, the fire just spreads wider and wider and the ash goes further afield. So we decided that this year we wanted to build a big circular fire pit to contain it, so we could just chuck branches in and not have to worry about it spilling out. Whew. That was hot work. Now that the rough circle has been marked out, it's time to grab the spade, start digging and get this area prepped, ready to lay some stones. And there we have it, our dugout circle ready for the stones to be laid. And just to say, I can't stress this enough, this is going to be like a rustic fire pit. This is very much functional rather than something decorative. So I've kind of roughly leveled the soil, but it's not perfect. All I wanted to do was dig a little bit down and level it off so I had a nice clean space to work in, but also so that first bed of mortar can be below ground level. So got Victoria coming to lend a helping hand. We've got, what do you reckon, about an hour until we lose the sun?
Probably. I'm just looking. We experience weather very differently. You're stood here in a t-shirt. I've got...
Yeah, but I've been slogging it out, moving all those barrowfuls of soil. I was wearing 3 layers before.
Fair enough.
We are now going to go and round up some stones while we've still got some light, ready to get them bedded tomorrow. We need to like decide on sizes really, don't we?
Bigger the better.
Okay, right, let's get on with it.
Bigger is not better.
Right, so as you can see, daylight is disappearing fast. So we've gathered a load of stones from across the farm, sorted them into big ones, little ones, medium ones, and then just random ones over there that we didn't want to drag all the way over here. So when we first started getting them together, we were trying to be pretty picky, weren't we? Yes. We were trying to get ones that were like quite clean, didn't have too much dirt and lichen and moss on, but in reality there's not many of them, so we've just kind of grabbed what we thought was the best size. How did you get so tall? Yes, so I think what we might do is, whilst laying them tomorrow, maybe I could be laying them and putting them in mortar, and you could be with a wire brush, maybe some water, scrubbing it off afterwards.
Hopefully that'll be right, but it was never going to get done if we stuck to our standards.
No, I don't think we've got enough stone to do that.
No,
we'd have had to jet wash everything, and yeah. So we're gonna head off for the night, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow to start laying them.
Woohoo.
We're up and at it early this morning. I've been up and tamped down the soil where the stones are going to go. We also had some leftover gravel from previous projects, so we've put that to some good use, laid the gravel down, tamped that as well, and what that's going to do is just give a bit more of a solid base for the stone to sit on, and then once it's all been pointed and mortared up, that should stop, or reduce at least, the movement from the ground, and therefore stopping the mortar from cracking. And then now helping me out, I've got my little shoe shiner on a little stool, a little bucket stool. Doing a good job. It's hard work.
No, it's coming off quite well when it's the lichen and the moss. Yeah, just need to give them a rinse.
And while Victoria is cleaning up those stones, the bee nearly flew into me then, I'm going to start manoeuvring the biggest stones into place and create the first row. So here's the progress on our little mini Stonehenge so far. It's going quite well. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm normally quite a good person with having vision for something, but I'm struggling to see how it's all going to come together when everything's filled in. At the moment, I've just been laying out the biggest stones around and spacing them out kind of evenly, with the thought of then infilling them with kind of medium stones and small stones, just to get a nice balance. And we've got these kind of granite posts, which are normally used around the border of the property. They use them for running strings between vines and things like that, but we want to have a few points around where we can get airflow through. And this one we thought we made decorative because the path is behind me, so you're going to see this quite often, and I think it looks really cool. Obviously this needs to be mortared and we'll get it all level properly. At the moment I'm just laying everything out dry to get a feel for it. And Victoria is still slogging it out like an absolute trooper with these stones. How are you getting on?
I want a pay rise from nothing.
It's lunchtime, so we're going to take a well-earned break. It's been hard work this morning, but just to update you on Poppy, because lots of people have been asking me, she's doing really well, she's recovering very well, the wound is healing perfectly. We've decided that today is going to be our first day we're actually going to let her have a run, because she's just had to be on the lead for the last 3 weeks now, and she's a lively little dog. She loves to run, so she's got a little bit of pent-up energy. So I don't know if this is a mistake, but Victoria is going to go and let her out, so let's see what happens. Teddy, should we get some dinner? Good boy. Right, so we're back at it, and I tell you what, rolling these huge boulders across the ground, I feel like I'm in World's Strongest Man competition where they roll the atlases. Do they roll the atlas balls? Oh no, they pick the atlas balls up.
Don't you have to roll it and then lift it onto the pedestal?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you roll it across and then you pick it up onto the...
I'll be honest, Ricky, I've probably watched half of an episode of Strongest Man.
Right, I just need to get this big boulder rolled into that space, but apart from that I'm on to the next phase, which is kind of getting the medium-sized ones and roughly mapping out how to do the infills. I'm just roughly dry fitting these for now, because now that the days are getting shorter, I haven't really got enough time in the afternoon to get the cement mixer out and mix up some mortar and then actually get it all laid down. So the plan is roughly lay them out for now, and then I'll wake up first thing tomorrow, get that cement mixer going, and we'll start getting these properly in position. Well guys, it's been about 5 days since I last filmed or picked up the camera because Portugal has just had so much rain. We've had non-stop rain here, and to be honest, we've been quite lucky here. We've not really had any flooding, but there's been horrendous flooding in other places in the country. I've seen Lisbon all over the news with the subway being flooded. It looks horrendous. And here's where I got to since I last filmed. So everything got laid out and kind of roughly placed. There's obviously still points where once the mortar goes in, I'll fill holes with smaller stones and mortar. And yeah, I've not been able to get any mortar out here just because of the rain. It's not going to have the chance to go off, and although it's sunny now, we've only got a break of about 2 hours until it's going to rain again. And then looking at the forecast, we've basically got between 8 and 10 days of just rain and storms now. So unfortunately, this project is going to have to come to a standstill for the moment, and I think I'll have to pick it up again and finish it off in a few weeks' time.
We actually heard this before we saw it on last night's dog walk. Because it was dark, we didn't see what was actually happening though. We've never seen water flowing through here before. It's only had dry mud in there until the last few days.
Yeah, I think it's just water that's flowing down through the soil and like into the water table, but it flows all the way under this field that I'm in now, under the next one, and then we've seen it goes all the way over into our neighbours as well. We were just saying, the sound of water is just so relaxing. Like, we always had dreams of living by the sea, didn't we? Yeah. And maybe one day, but after hearing that, I'm thinking maybe a water feature at some point. Yeah.
Well, maybe the pond.
Maybe, but that's quite far away from the house.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
I've just remembered that I left you at the end of last week's video having pressure washed the outside of the tiny house. Well, I did go and do the inside as well, so I'll just show you the progress there. It wasn't actually too bad on the inside because it's not been exposed to the elements and weathered, but there are a few areas where the water is coming in from the leaking roof, and those areas were covered in green, I don't know if it's algae, I'm not sure what it is, but it was grimy. So I thoroughly jet washed those, and it really did make a big difference. I got soaked in the process and afterwards there was just copious amounts of water left on the floor. So I probably spent more time trying to get the water out of the building than the actual pressure washing itself.
For that orange.
Okay, so seeing as the weather is so rotten outside and we can't seem to get anything done out there, no. We thought we'd sit down, we would do some Christmassy activities indoors to get us in the mood, and we would answer some of your most frequently asked questions that I get in the comments on the videos.
So I went out this morning and gathered up some olive, eucalyptus and pine, and we're going to make a wreath out of it.
Nice. That's it. Good girl. Get on. Good.
I wondered how long that was going to take.
Yeah. So, the first question that I get asked all the time in the comments is, how did we find our property? We found our property through an estate agent. They were an estate agent that we found online. Yeah. They were an English-speaking estate agent, which we went with lots of different estate agents, didn't we? We went with about, I don't know, 4 or 5.
Yeah, we did, and you just have to be open to go and view whatever they suggest, really.
Yeah, kind of.
To a degree.
We saw lots of duds, but this one was the only property we saw with this one particular agent, and yeah, we just got the feels, didn't we? Felt right. I would say to lots of other people, if you're wanting to look for property in Portugal or anywhere that's foreign, obviously go through agents, but also consider if you can be in an area before you buy and just go around and ask. Yeah. Because, we didn't do this, but I do know lots of people who just went to the local village or local town and just asked around. And particularly in Portugal, there is so much land, there are so many properties for sale that somebody always knows somebody who's inherited one and they don't want it. And so I think there's much better deals to be had if you go and ask the locals.
And the best place to do that is in the cafes.
Yeah, agreed.
But they weren't open when we were doing it due to COVID.
Exactly. So we kind of had to go through an agent, really. We didn't have much choice. Okay, so the next one is, why don't we have a tractor to cut the grass and like deal with jobs? We would love to have a tractor. Absolutely love to have a tractor. It would save us so much back-breaking work. It would save us so much time.
Yeah. It's on the Santa list.
It's on the Santa list, and we are saving for one, but they are so expensive here. You know, a small new tractor is 20 to 30k depending on what you have. Yes, you can buy some out there for kind of 5,000 euros, but they're like 40 plus years old. Ideally, we will buy a used one, but a much newer used one.
Yeah.
And I think a tractor will be coming a little bit further down the line, because we have got our hands full with renovations and tools and things like that that need our finances. Right, so next question. It's getting very dark now in the winter, so there we go, a bit more light. Next question. Are we hiring any help for any of the renovation work? So I get asked this one all the time. In short, no. For the small kind of stone cottage, tiny house build, we are going to try and do it all ourselves. You know, it's a small building. The only thing I'm a bit nervous about on that build is getting up the big heavy ridge beam.
You're nervous?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be tough for the two of us, even though it's not going that high. But, you know, I'm probably just going to get a block and tackle, and we'll find some way to manoeuvre it up. I think it'll be okay. But the rest of it, you know, yes, there are skilled jobs there, but, you know, I like to learn. And that's kind of the point of doing it is, you know, there's skills I already have, and there's other skills. There's other skills that I want to learn. So probably not going to get any help on that, apart from we do need to get somebody with a mini digger for a day or two's work, because there's a big mound next to that tiny house, and we need that digging out, and also we want the area around the house to be dug out to put a French drain in. So that we do need a skilled operator for. When we get round to doing the renovation on this main house, there's a high chance we'll get help with this just because of the scale of the build. So this next question is a good one, and actually something that we've been discussing recently. So the question is, why is the channel called Life by Ricky and not something else that includes Victoria or the dogs or all of us together? So the reason for that was because originally this channel was just going to be me going around the farm, doing the DIY, doing the renovations, and that was what it was going to be. Obviously, the more videos I've made, you know, Victoria's been more involved because it's both of our properties, and we've enjoyed doing it together. If I'm being honest, it's been much more fun for me making these videos with Victoria. It's true. You know it's true. Than it has been doing it by myself. For me, it kind of doesn't feel right that the channel is called Life by Ricky when it's like both of us in every video now contributing towards this. So we have been talking about, well, I've been speaking to Victoria about changing the name. We're not exactly sure what next.
No clue. No idea.
I'm thinking Ricky and Vicky.
Categorically not.
Victoria does not like being called Vicky, so for anybody out there, that's not an option. Vicky is off the cards. But if you've got any suggestions, let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
This next question is one that I have received a surprising number of times. It's, would we consider, or why are we not converting a shipping container to live in whilst we renovate the main house? So with that one, our initial plan when we came to Portugal is that we did want to convert a shipping container. We have always loved them. For years when we were back in the UK, we were verging on obsessed with them, and it was always a bit of a dream to do that. But it's very difficult to do that in Portugal. Here the temperatures are so extreme. You get pretty cold and wet winters, but also very, very hot summers. So you need really good insulation because you are just in a metal box, which obviously is a very good conductor of the cold and the heat. And what you really need is a closed cell spray foam insulation. If you ever see anybody doing a shipping container conversion the right way, they always use closed cell, and that's because the wall of a shipping container is ridged. So if you just put a piece of plasterboard or something in front, you'll have a ridged gap behind, and obviously there you can have condensation build up and you can just create a whole host of problems. So what you do is you put spray foam insulation in there, and it leaves no air gaps for condensation or moisture to build up. So in Portugal, that closed cell spray foam is almost non-existent. We really couldn't find anywhere where we could source it. There was places in Spain, but to get them to come from Spain and do the job just ended up being so expensive. The other reason we didn't do it is that Portugal, although people seem to get the impression that Portugal is somewhere where there are not many planning rules and you can kind of do what you want, that's just not the case. We've heard many other stories of other people doing shipping container builds or doing similar things that aren't licensed by the local council, and it just never ends up working out. And if you want to go down the legal route of doing it for shipping container, most councils just aren't going to recognise it at all. Or if you have an architect involved who's helping you do it all, the actual cost to do it all is basically the equivalent or even more expensive than if you just built a new build from scratch. So as much as we love shipping containers, that's why we haven't done one. Never say never. We do love Portugal, but maybe we won't be in Portugal forever. Maybe we would live in another country where it is possible to do that. And if that's the case, then I would definitely consider a shipping container home.
Yeah.
How are you getting on?
Well, I'm getting there. What do you think so far?
Oh, it's looking good.
Yeah?
Very prof.
I don't think it's that. I think I'm scoring higher on effort than attainment.
Oh, you're doing good. Would you like a little festive glass of wine?
Christmas wine, yes, please.
Okay. For you.
Thank you.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Next question. Does the summer fire risk scare you?
A lot.
Yeah, agreed. It's one thing of when you move to a hot country, particularly Portugal, that the fire risk exists. But coming from somewhere like the UK where you just have grown up never having to worry about that, in your head you just kind of think, oh well, people live there, it's okay. You just sort of think it must be fine. I think the reality of when you're actually here is, it's pretty scary. We've had our second summer here just gone, and I would definitely say we were more relaxed this summer. I think because we felt a bit more prepared. We'd gone last summer and I think we just felt a bit more prepared going into it and a little bit more relaxed. But the first year we were here, we were very scared. The slightest whiff of smoke and it's we're outside, we're looking on the apps that tell you where the fires are. I think it's part and parcel of living here, and I think you have to just, as long as you can just be as prepared as possible, clear your land, make sure that you've got an overnight bag or something, emergency bag packed in case you have to dart. In the summer we always leave the van parked ready to head straight out, so if we did have to evacuate quickly, we could be straight in and gone really quickly. We keep water in the van. That's basically all you can do.
Does that look about even?
Yeah, I think it looks good.
So we've got some cinnamon sticks and our very own orange slicers to decorate. These came off our tree the other day, which I dried out in the oven.
Okay, so the final question is,
Sorry.
How did you get permission to live in Portugal? This is kind of questions related to residency, citizenship, all these types of things. We came to Portugal whilst theoretically the UK was still classed as in the EU because it was at the end of the transition period. So we came to Portugal in October and the transition period ended at the end of that year, to December the 31st. Because we were still classed as EU citizens, it was really easy for us to get residency. All we had to do was make an appointment at the local council. We went in, had to answer a few questions about income, savings, intentions for being here, and basically that was it. They just said, okay, that's fine, gave us a piece of paper. We came back within a few days and we had our residency documents. So obviously if you're coming from another EU country, Germany, France, Netherlands, anywhere, it's still really easy for you to come to Portugal and get residency. It's just the same procedure that we went through. If you're coming from outside of the EU, it's a lot more complex. I know particularly for the UK people, you now have to apply for, I think for most people it's a D7 visa, and you have to start that process from the UK with the Portuguese immigration services. I don't know if that's what they're called. Yeah, agency. But you have to have appointments there. You have to prove that you have a job. You have to prove your income. You have to prove savings, all these different things. I won't go into it because I don't know is the answer. We had it very easy, and although we did rush to get here, kind of knowing it would be more difficult post Brexit, I'm really glad we did. It was a bit stressful at the time, but I'm glad we did it because it made life so much easier. Is this job done?
Yeah.
Nice. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I wish it was a bit fuller, but I've basically used up all of the foliage I'd got, so
nice.
Yeah, not bad. It smells really good.
It does smell nice. I like the eucalyptus with the orange. And on that note, we are going to leave you. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.